Jack Schmidt has just tied Eddie Matthews' record for all-time homers by a third baseman. Drive! This game is over! A tremendous home run by Mike Schmidt!
You are looking at one of the greatest home run hitters in baseball history, Mike Schmidt. During his career, Mike hit over 30 home runs a season 13 times, second only to the great Hank Aaron. Averaging a home run nearly every 14 at-bats, Mike became the ultimate cleanup hitter for the Philadelphia Phillies. 8 times he led the National League in home runs, and 3 times he was named the league's most valuable player. One of only 14 players ever to hit over 500 home runs in a career, Mike Schmidt met with another member of the 500 Club, Reggie Jackson, to discuss his remarkable career.
Mike, I guess a question that a lot of people want to know is, I've had to answer the same question, is in leading the league in home runs, do you try to hit home runs? Was that your first and foremost thought?
Yeah, we're asked that question an awful lot, you know, and I don't know, maybe you're different, but with me, I never hit a home run when I tried to hit one. Never. I always was amazed at the way you used to swing at some of the pitches. You know, when your feet fly off the ground, you spin around in the batter's box. And I never ever made contact when I swung hard. I didn't become a good hitter until I learned to swing easy. You know, once I learned to swing the bat nice and smooth, like say an Ernie Banks or a Rod Carew might be an exception to the rule, but I mean, it's almost like when I learned to kind of drag the bat through the strike zone, that's when I learned to hit.
In his rookie season, 1973, Mike had yet to learn about the finer points of hitting. That year, the hard-swinging rookie batted only .196, and some experts felt he would never make it in the big leagues. However, the next season, Mike adjusted his swing, and the results were astounding. Mike raised his batting average nearly 100 points, and even more impressive, he led the league with 36 home runs. Mike also drove in over 100 runs and helped power the Phillies, once perennial losers, into a winning ball club. Considering his woeful rookie season, Mike's performance in 1974 was most significant.
First of all, it was my first good, solid year in the major leagues. There wasn't a lot of striking out. There wasn't a lot of time spent in Danny Ozark's doghouse. Made my first All-Star team that year as a write-in candidate.
74, Pittsburgh.
1974 in Pittsburgh. I was a write-in choice for that. I remember Kirk Gowdy plugging me on the game of the week. You know, the first year where you start to really enjoy some success amongst people like yourself. You start to feel like you belong, and it kind of snowballed. And I think, you know, the first year you find out at what level you can play this game. You know, you're starting now to set your goals a little higher, and the standards for your play now start to become accepted around the league as one of the best in the league. Now the challenge is to live up to those expectations, and to me, that was a fun challenge.
Following the 1974 season, Mike Schmidt continued to be a reliable source of power in the Phillies lineup. For 3 straight years, Mike led the league in home runs and was always among the league leaders in RBIs and runs scored. And on defense, Mike turned into a Gold Glove third baseman. During the mid-70s, the Phillies were an explosive team that combined power and speed to lead the league in runs scored. The team was solid on both offense and defense, and as a result, Philadelphia captured the Eastern Division title 3 straight years, from 1976 to 1978. However, in the league playoffs, nothing went right for the Phillies. With the World Series within their reach, Philadelphia failed to win the pennant all 3 times.
I'm not sure that we, as a team, knew how to win in that playoff competition. Always a pressure, whether the team we were playing was better than us. We just seemed to find a way to lose in that 5-game series in the playoffs, and And no matter how well you did as an individual, or no matter how many games you won during the season, you win 100 games during the season, but if you went into the playoffs and the other team beat you 3 out of 5, it's like you were a loser. You know, and like people didn't want any part of you because you couldn't win the big one. You know, you couldn't really do it when it counted. And we lived with that label for 4 or 5 years, as I say, until 1980.
In 1980, Mike Schmidt put together one of the best years of his career. And once again, it looked like the Phillies would get another shot at the National League pennant.
Took the pressure off. In 1980, with the Phillies, it was Pete Rose. Pete said, look, you guys just follow me through the playoffs, and you can have some fun in the World Series.
With the addition of free agent Pete Rose, the Phillies seemed to find the emotional boost to make another run at the championship. While Rose provided the emotion, Mike Schmidt provided the power. Going into the last weekend of the 1980 season, Mike Schmidt's 2-run home run against the Montreal Expos clinched the Eastern Division title for the Phillies.
Mike Schmidt puts the Phillies up 6-4. Oh, what a drive by Schmidt, unbelievable.
Mike's heroics helped propel the Phils into the League Championship Series, where they went on to defeat the Houston Astros to win the National League pennant.
A wild scene in Montreal.
In the World Series, Mike Schmidt continued to have the hot bat as the Phils took on the Kansas City Royals. In the series, Mike batted .381 with 2 home runs and 7 runs batted in.
Here's the pitch to Schmidt. Swinging a line drive, hit right center field.
In Game 6, Mike's 2-run single helped clinch the series for the Phillies. In the long history of the Philadelphia franchise, the Phillies had never won the World Series. In 1980, that losing streak finally came to an end as the Phillies won it all, and Mike Schmidt was named the series MVP.
Winning the World Series, a special moment for you, and being named the most valuable player.
Oh, absolutely.
Prior to the 1980 World Series, Mike Schmidt had completed his best season ever as a Philly, batting a personal high .286 with 48 home runs and 121 RBIs. Mike was named the National League's most valuable player in 1980, an award that testified to his steady improvement as a hitter since the days when he was a raw-boned rookie who used to strike out more often than he made contact.
I've been a real student of hitting a baseball over the years. Not many people know that, but I've studied myself. I've studied other players' styles. I've watched you hit. I watch TV, and I watch people hit, and I watch what they do, and I try to sense what makes them successful. When I first came into the game, I was a young kid, stood reasonably close to the plate, pulled the ball to left field, and hoped 30 I went out of the ballpark, and 100 RBIs were a result. And that seemed to work, but I struck out 150 times a year, every year, and I hit 250, 249, 260, and I didn't like that. So from that stance that I told you that I had as a young player, I decided to kind of adopt a Roberto Clemente style. So if Roberto Clemente can stand in the back corner of that batter's box and have the whole plate out there for the pitcher to throw at and stride into the ball and have the success that he had, that maybe I could apply that to my style a little bit. So I tried it. I've done this many times in my career. I just tried it, and it worked.
After winning the MVP award in 1980, Mike Schmidt and his new batting stance gave a repeat performance in 1981. In a strike-shortened season, Mike batted over .300 with 36 home runs and 112 RBIs to win his second straight MVP award. At the age of 32, Mike Schmidt was now better than ever. Schmidt made playing third base look easy. And perhaps because of his effortless style and cool demeanor, many Philadelphia fans got the impression that Mike was just sort of going through the motions when he played. As a result, it took a long time for the fans of Philadelphia to appreciate Mike Schmidt. The most emotional player on the Phillies, but in terms of producing results on the field, there was none better than Michael Jack. Year in and year out, it seemed like the Phils could always count on Mike for 35 home runs and 100 RBIs.
Here's the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a line drive left field. Deep. It is out of here. Home run.
In 1986, Mike became only the third player ever to win the National League MVP award 3 times. With nearly 500 career home runs under his belt, the fans of Philadelphia suddenly began to appreciate the great Mike Schmidt.
I think as we talked earlier at the breakfast this morning, when I tied and passed Lou Gehrig in that, in the home run
people go,
chase, so to speak, yeah, they start to go, hey, you got to be kidding me. Lou Gehrig, they made movies about this guy, right? This is one of the all-time great careers in the history of our sport. And Mike Schmidt's done more? You got to be kidding me. So, and then the MVP followed, the third one, and that put me in a bit of an elite group. And I think the people in Philadelphia who perceived me and who were still holding judgment about me as a professional athlete in their town all of a sudden said, dang, all this has been going on right in front of my eyes, and I didn't realize it.
Going into the next season, Mike gave the fans of Philadelphia another good reason to cheer as he quickly approached the career milestone of 500 home runs. 1987 season, Mike Schmidt needed just 5 more home runs to reach the magic milestone of 500. On April 17th, Mike blasted home run number 499. In the very next game, the Phillies faced the Pittsburgh Pirates. Entering the 9th inning, the Phils trailed 6-5. With 2 on and 2 out, up stepped Mike Schmidt. Mike's historic 500th home run came in the clutch and added yet another great moment to his remarkable career.
Mike, if you could recall one single moment that's yours and only yours that you'll take from baseball, what would it be?
I would have to say, Reggie, in 1980, which was a year that encompassed just about everything that a player could want to have happen to him from an individual standpoint, which led up to the final out of the World Series. McGraw struck out Willie Wilson, and Tug and I rode to the ballpark together prior to that game. It was the 6th game of the World Series. And I said, Tug, listen, if you're on a mound, which the reliever usually is, because I remember Jacoby the year before being on the cover of Sports Illustrated when the Pirates won. I said, Tug, you know, if you're on the cover of Sports Illustrated, and if you got a shot, I want you to do me one favor. Wait on me. After you strike this guy out or get that last out and you raise those hands in the air, do me a favor. Wait on me to get in there.
I want to be in the picture.
Right, I want to be in that picture somewhere. And sure enough, it worked out. He struck out Willie Wilson, and I don't know whether you can remember, but I remember vividly.
Oh, yes.
Tug turned and looked at me at third base, and I ran in and dove on him. And then, you know, that picture right now is hanging in a lot of offices, and it's hanging in my basement. It's hanging above Lee Elia's desk.
You planned that thing.
Yeah, we planned that, and it's right there, and a special moment, and they've caught it on film.
Mike, I'd like to take this opportunity now and express my feelings.
It's great to have you as a friend, more than anything. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it.